Hello everyone. So today I want to do something different than I usually do. Now I want to talk about a book. This is my attempt to grow my channel from just a movie channel to maybe touch on other things like books and so forth. Today I want to talk about Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, which is like the sequel to his first book, Red Rising. Now, I know I haven't reviewed Red Rising, but I'm just going to skip to the sequel because Red Rising was great, but I think Golden Sun was a lot happened in this book, and I really want to talk about it because this book is really incredible. If Red Rising was like a 4 out of 5, Golden Sun is like a 6 out of 5. Literally, it's that good. Now, so this is a novel by Pierce Brown, and by the way, this is a spoiler-filled review. If you have not read the book, do proceed with caution. If you have read the book, well, it should be no problem to you. So this is a sequel to Red Rising that I mentioned earlier, and so the book introduces with this space battle going on between Darrow using his Augustus fleet against Karnus Au Bellona. Now Bellona and Darrow have this blood feud because Darrow killed Julian, which is one of their brothers, during the first book in the passage. So now there's this blood feud between them, and I think it's monumental because the book opens with him losing. Now in the previous book, Red Rising, we see at the end of the book, we thought this guy was invincible. He cannot be stopped. He's unbeatable. And now this book opens with him losing. So I thought that is a very monumental move. It really sets the pace for what's going to happen, so on and so forth. And after the space battle, he survives, but he also gets humiliated by Karnus and his troops when they come and attack him when he's all alone. And one of the things I want to talk about is friendship. You know, in the first book, you saw him lose his friends, gain some allies, things like that. And in this book, it's the same thing. He's going to lose some guys and gain some people, and he's going to keep some as well. Like in this book, you saw him lose Tactus in the middle of the book when he betrays them, and then you also see him gain new friends like Ragnar, who's an obsidian but is really strong guy. So that's one thing that I really like, and how it really touches on trust and loyalty. And that's another thing that I want to talk about, and I felt that very relatable. Like anybody can relate to these themes. Also, Severo and Ragnar, I need to talk about these guys. Like, we all need friends like Severo and Ragnar, friends who do anything for us. And Severo, he'll do anything for Darrow, and Ragnar, same way, new friend. But one thing I really liked about Ragnar was how, just like how in the first book, Dancer gave the choice to Darrow. Like, he didn't force Darrow to join him, he gave him the choice. That's what Darrow does with Ragnar here. Instead of using him as what anybody else would have done, because he's an obsidian, he's supposed to be a tool used for war, Darrow instead gives him the choice to either follow him or go his own path. And I really like that. It shows that he's trying to do things differently. He's trying to break away from the system that's been built for so long, for centuries, and he wants to create a new world. And that's something I really like here. Instead of just, you know, a typical revenge story, it goes something deeper, and he's trying to fix the system because he knows that one of the lines in this book is death begets death begets death. So instead of just going around and being like a gold and commanding people or killing other people, he actually gives people the choice. Whether they are golds or pinks or obsidians, or blues, it doesn't matter what their color is, he's just going to give them the choice. And that's something I really appreciate here. And the Sons of Ares, now both Severo and Ragnar know about his mission because firstly, he told Ragnar about his mission. Since he's an obsidian, he could trust him, he needed to give him the choice. As for Severo, Ares approaches him, actually spoiler alert, Ares is actually his father, Fitchner. So Dancer was the one who approached him, or was it Ares? I don't remember the details clearly, but one of them approached him and then tells him the full story, and now he knows as well, showing how he's a very trustworthy friend, someone he can trust. And the Sons of Ares, you know, we got to see a bit of them. We saw Harmony somewhere in the beginning of the book as she tries to kill the jackal in this nightclub or whatsoever and fails because Darrow saved his life. You can see what has happened to Harmony. She's been really hurt. She wants to go her own way, and she wants to do things differently because she sees that the way the Sons of Ares are doing is very inefficient and very ineffective. So she wants to do her own thing and just blow up everybody. So she tells Darrow to wear a bomb and go into this party full of ghosts and kill everybody. Of course, Darrow initially, he was heartbroken because she also told him what Io, is that how you say her name? Io, his wife from the mines. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but Persephone, I believe that's another name she's called by. She tells him what exactly was her last words, which is she was pregnant, and so he was really heartbroken by that. So he really does it. It was him at his lowest moment, and he also had a revelation over time and realized he needs to change the system. And if he just goes on and kills people, it's just going to make things worse. He decides not to follow them and do his own thing and challenge Cassius, which we will talk about later. But first, let's talk about Fitchner. And oh my goodness, the plot twist at the end with Fitchner being Ares himself is really mind-boggling. And also it makes sense because it doesn't make sense how they approach Several, because they didn't see what happened in the institute during the test, like what went on between Several and Darrow and the trust they had. So there was no way anybody could have known unless somebody saw those clips, which makes sense if he was one of the proctors, and he was one of the proctors. It was Fitchner, and it makes sense that way. So that's how Several got the information. And Fitchner's backstory also makes sense why he wants to do this, because he loved a woman who was a Red and she got caught and hence she got killed, and he wants to change the system because of that. So technically Several is also half Red. So that really closes in the ties between, that really also makes Darrow and Several closer than they already are. Now, Octavia Alun, she's like the main antagonist for Darrow in this book, just like how the Proctors were in the first book. She's like the sovereign. She wants to get rid of Augustus because she thinks he's an obstacle that needs to be taken out, and well, basically she fails, you get that. But I think she's an effective antagonist in this book. Tries to pry open the mind of Darrow, tries to get the truth out of him, and tries to recruit him as well. But it doesn't work anyways. But she's a good antagonist. Lorne Au Orco, I'm just gonna call him Lorne. I don't know how to say his last two names. Anyways, he's the previous Rage Knight, but now he's retired on this island, and he just wants to live a peaceful life with his family. But Darrow brings him back into the field again, and I bet he regrets it to a certain extent. Both of them do regret it, but he does come back and he shows his loyalty to Darrow, and I really like that. It shows that Lorne really liked Darrow as a student of his, and he's probably one of his favorite students, and he never really regretted it, even though he brought him back into danger again. So it shows a master-student kind of relationship, and I really like that. Darrow versus Cassius, round 2. Round 2, fight! So in the first round, in the previous book, you saw Darrow lose badly to Cassius because Cassius has been training since young. But in this book, you see Darrow win because he got the training from Lorne, and he used that to his advantage, and he finally wins. It's like a redemption arc from him from the first book. So it's like a full circle moment for him now. Then the Iron Rain, which was the final battle to capture Mars from the claws of Octavia Alun, and it was just really incredible to read the entire thing. I'm not going to say what it is, you all probably read it, or if you haven't, just go and read it. It's an incredible battle sequence and it's huge. It's also looking at personal relationships, especially the one between Darrow and Rogue, who's been his friend since the beginning of this book. And it strains their relationship, and you see how that plays out at the end of the book. And we need to talk about Mustang as well, who's Virginia. I mean, you all know who she is, but I'm just gonna call her by the first name, Mustang. And for the most part, I think she's great. She works as an undercover agent under Octavia at first, and she goes to have a relationship with Cassius because she's working undercover for them. And then, but in reality, she's actually working undercover for her father to get information. So there's all that kind of stuff, and I think she's fine for most of the book. Then there's the Jackal. I think he's the more interesting surprises in this book. I didn't think we are going to see him again, but here he is once again, and this time he's like a business magnate. He controls the media and he controls a lot of things now. So even though he lost at the Institute at the end of the first book, he's made his way through the ranks by other means, through businesses and all that, with soft power. So this really contrasts with Darrow very well, because In the first book, we saw how it contrasts, one was soft power, the other was hard power, but here you see further where Daryl is fighting his way while the Jackal is using businesses and money and media to win his way, so he's using soft power. So it's still the same thing, but you see it bigger this time, at a bigger scale. And this time, these two are working together instead of against each other like the first book. Oh yeah, and Leto, who was initially supposed to be the one to take over narrow out Augustus when he retires or falls out, but he dies. But I really liked him. I would have really liked to see him be the leader, because I think he's very reasonable, especially when discussing about the sons of Ares with Pliny and Nero and Darrow. I think he's very reasonable in his takes and how we can take them down. He's also very sympathetic, and I think we need more people like him in this book. And I think he would have been a great leader, honestly. And of course, narrow out Augustus is evil, but he manages to justify why he's evil and why he's doing it in the first place. And to a certain extent, you see where he's coming from, even though you cannot root for him because he's done a lot of evil things, but he does them for a reason. He wants order because he believes that order is the only way a society can function. So it's all that, and you don't really like it because he's a monster and he's done some terrible things, but he manages to justify it. So even though you're not with him, you can at least see where he's coming from. Pliny, I mean, this guy is a backstabber, and I have nothing much to say about him. Honestly, I feel that he's kind of the weaker aspects of this book. I don't see the point of his character that much. So I feel that his character could have been lowered down a bit more, like give him less screen presence, because again, he doesn't do that much. And also at the end of the book, Daryl goes back to his home. He goes back to the mines to take a look, and then he talks to his mother, and he also brings Mustang with him for her to see everything. Basically, this is Daryl's full circle moment. So he starts out from here, and now he's going to end here. He wants to see everything before he moves on to the next phase of his journey. And the ending was a shocker. Spoiler alert for those who have not read the book, but a lot of surprising things happen. Lorne dies, Jackal betrays them. Apparently he knew all along that Darrow's identity, and he was working with the Sons of Ares. He even knew who Ares was, and he's working with Octavia now and Cassius as well, which is crazy, and everybody knows. And even his close friend Rogue betrays him. So most people he knew betrayed him, and either betrayed him or died. And Nero gets betrayed by his own son as well. And you see the full extent of evil of him. Remember how Augustus Nero said, I am a necessary evil for order in this world? Well, his son learned from that, and now he's seeing what he created with his son. So it's kind of like, yeah, I see what Nero is trying to do, but look at what he's created because of this kind of attitude and this kind of mentality within his son. His son is basically Nero, but 10 times worse. So much so that even Nero couldn't accept that the Jackal is his son, and says, I should have killed you in your crib. Like, he couldn't accept that as his son at all. And that's why we are left off with this book. We have no idea where his close friends as Severo and Ragnar are at, and we have no idea where Mustang is at this time as well. So hopefully they can save him in the next book. Here are my theories for the next book. Firstly, I think I know how exactly they got to know about it. I assume Mustang had something to do with it, because think about it, she had the video. He gave her the video of the operation that he went through to turn from a red to a gold, and she saw the whole thing. And the only way the Jackal or Cassius knew about it is if that video went into their hands. And I think Mustang had something to do with it. Now the Jackal does say Mustang is not there because they had some lovers quarrel, which makes it seem like she didn't betray them. But I do think that she did betray them to the Jackal, but she told the Jackal not to tell Darrow because she did not want Darrow to be heartbroken by it. So I assume that's my theory at this point of what happens, but I'll have to read the third book to see what happens. And my expectations for the Morning Star, which is like the third book, I want to see what exactly happened, how the Jackal got to know about all this information, as well as what's going to happen to the Sons of Ares now that Fitchner aka Ares is dead. And I also want to know how this thing is going to end. Is it going to bring the people of the mines to fight for their own freedom? Is it going to inspire every color to rise up against the golds like the Jackal and Cassius? Well, what's going to happen? I really want to know, and I want to know how Daryl is going to lead. I assume it's going to lead into something like Daryl is leading all the lower colors on Mars. That's my assumption, that's my expectation. My expectations are quite high for the Morning Star right now, but that's my plot analysis and book review for this Golden Sun. Okay, I get it. Red Rising, the first book, is kind of controversial because some people think it's awesome. Some people think it's like a 1 out of 5 book. I've seen the reviews. So people are split on the first book and they're not really sure because some of the things can be repetitious, and some of the things in the book you could have seen in probably other books like the Hunger Games and so on and so forth. So it's kind of repeating what's already there, and he also repeats certain lines like how much he loves Ao, how much he loves this girl, and it's just repetitious. So I can understand why some people don't like it. But let me just tell you, Golden Sun is actually really good. It's completely different from Red Rising, and it's really on a higher standard if you ask me. From the very beginning this book starts, it just keeps going on and on and on, and it keeps getting better and better and keeps subverting expectations along the way. So I can't wait to see how Morning Star plays out and how it ends the trilogy as a whole. Hopefully it's a good ending, and yeah, that's about it. I'll probably give Golden Sun like 5 out of 5. That's my review of it. And Red Rising like a 4 out of 5. If you like this video, click the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. See you guys next time. You guys are always the best. And let me know if you want to see any more stuff out of me if you're interested. And give me some feedback on how I can improve this book review next time.